Maggie Daley married the former Margaret Corbett of Pittsburgh on March 25, 1972. The two met in Chicago when Rich was a young attorney, and Maggie, as she likes to be called, worked for the Xerox Corporation. In their 9 years together, they've shared the good times as well as periods of great sadness. And they join us now to share their thoughts. Now, Maggie, what was it about Rich that really caught your eye the first time you saw him?
Oh, the first thing, my first impression was his sense of humor. The first time we were introduced, the girl that introduced us made us that he was able to start making me laugh right away. It was just a humorous kind of conversation, and I thought it was terrific.
And a sense of humor is very important to any married couple, right, Rich?
That's right.
Now, turn about his fair play. What was it about Maggie that intrigued you and pulled at your heartstrings?
Well, I think, first of all, her sensitivity and her kindness and just her personality and feelings about people.
Beautiful review, right, Maggie? Now, what did your family think and say when you went home or called them on the phone or however you did it and said that you were going to be a part of the famous Daley family of Chicago? Now, how did they react?
My dad just wanted to know if I loved him, and I said yes, and he said that's all he had to know. And he was very happy. He was very fond of all of Rich's family.
And your mom, what did she ask you?
Really the same. As long as I was happy, they were happy.
Terrific. Now, I hear that you went to Sicily on your honeymoon. It was in March. Did you go there to get warm, or what was the situation?
No, we went to a beautiful place in Sicily called Taormina, San Domingo hotel there, and we stayed a week there and a week in Rome on our honeymoon.
And you picked it out, Rich?
No, Maggie did.
Oh, was it a place you always wanted to go?
No, really. He's just saying that actually it was his choice, I think, and it was a great surprise to me because it was so interesting. I had really never thought of going to Taormina, but it was lovely. A very beautiful place.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure you're both filled with memories of Mayor Daley. And Maggie, let me ask you just to say one thing that stands out in your mind about your former father-in-law.
Oh, I think his kindness. He was really one of the kindest men I know, ever knew. He
loved to be with your children.
Oh, he did indeed.
He pushed the buggy.
Yes, yes. Oh, he was wonderful. They couldn't have asked for a better grandfather.
And Rich, are there some things that your dad used to say to you as you were growing up that you now remember and find very, very significant?
Well, one thing I found out, he loved life, even though he saw a lot of sad situations. He really appreciated just every day, every morning he got up, he looked forward to his job, he looked forward to meeting people, even though there were crises and there were personal problems and there were various things. He really enjoyed life. And he always also said that your health is the most important. As long as you have your health, you can do anything you want in life. And those are the things. And also he extended his way of life, his public and personal life were almost together. He believed in a strong family, and he always had a hand outstretched to help somebody. Even though that sometimes it was unusual circumstances, he always tried to help somebody. That was the key about my father.
I wish we could all do that and carry on that philosophy. That brings up a point. Just last weekend at the International Amphitheater, this young woman was attacked by a number of men. There were people all around that didn't help. What sort of words do you have? Because are people afraid to help one another today because they're afraid of getting involved and hurt themselves?
Well, I think today sometimes we're living in a world of people just think of themselves and not of the other person. And I think we have to extend ourselves, whether it's a senior citizen, whether it's a young girl, crime takes place. So you have to step forward. And I think that's what we have to do away with, this idea of looking the other way when something happens.
But one person couldn't take on 8, 9, 10 other men.
But you'd be surprised one person can make a difference in a situation like that to if they step forward.
It certainly alert people. Alert people. You get a big group together.
That's right, and I think that makes a difference. And that's what we're trying to do, is have more people dealing with the State's Attorney's Office, is to volunteer to help people, victims of crime, young girls, senior citizens, so that they would just help. They can't get paid, but just to help somebody, and I think that's the key.
And it's our responsibility as people to help each other. Don't you feel that way, Maggie?
Absolutely.
No.
It's unbelievable to me that occurred, as I'm sure it is to you. I couldn't believe it.
It's hard for a woman to accept that another woman could be treated that way, or a man, or anyone. Let me ask you this. We talked at the beginning about your pleasures. Now, I know you like to go to motion pictures, am I right? Eat popcorn, and you like to go on fishing trips. Now, who caught the biggest fish the last trip you took?
My daughter, Nora.
Did you?
Yes.
What about Patrick?
Oh, Patrick caught some small fish, but Nora was the fisherman in the last trip.
And Maggie, what happened to her?
Maggie got seasick.
I just managed to have a queasy stomach.
Did you get really seasick or
Just queasy,
All right.
thank goodness.
Okay. Next time you remember to take the Dramamine or put the thing behind your ear or something. Let's see, you like to read adventure books, is that right?
Sure, mysteries. John McDonnell and others enjoy mystery books to relax, do something different.
What helps you relax, Maggie? Because you've got lots of pressures with the young children, with the man in the political scene. What do you do to relax?
I really find being with my children is most relaxing. I mean, there are the harrowed moments that we all have with our children, but by and large, I think probably like yourself, my real pleasure is when I'm home with them and we can have a good time together, particularly now as they get older, because we have so much more to share.
As we mentioned at the beginning of the segment, you've enjoyed good times and sad times. You lost your son, Kevin, when he was 4 years old. What advice would you have, or maybe comfort, to other families who have gone through a similar situation?
I really don't have any advice, but I think that anyone who has gone through it knows how very difficult it is. But we all manage to get through it. And I think that I try not to be sorrowful too much, because that's not how I'm sure Kevin would want to be remembered. I try to remember all the good times, and he was a joy to us. The few years we had him, he brought so much joy to our lives we could never thank him enough.
Rich, how do you cope with the grief?
Well, I think it's important for the husband and wife and the family to stay together, during a period to really bring together the family. And I think it's important because many times it's difficult. There are many problems that arise within a family and couples, and I think it's anybody that can help. It's important. We were very fortunate to have fine doctors, Dr. Ramundi, Dr. McClone, the staff at Children's Memorial Hospital. Not only us, but other people that we met there. Just the nurses and everybody were so dedicated. But to make sure that anybody to help a family, I think it's important.
So stick together.
That's right. And have people help someone that is in a very difficult circumstances. Because there's many emotional problems, and it just sometimes it's very difficult for people to handle.
As Cook County State's Attorney, you have worked very hard. You've received a lot of accolades. You've received some criticism. Certain people can't understand your really strong feelings about trying specific juvenile cases in adult court. Would you say why that's so important?
Well, because you have a 14, 15, and 16-year-old that will commit a murder, rape, and armed robbery and home invasion where there's violence. And most of our victims are young or old. And there's a trend where the majority of victims are becoming older, especially on sex crimes and murder, that we believe that everybody has a right to live in peace and to go to work, go to a park, live in their home. And secondly, that juveniles should be held accountable for their conduct. And thirdly, we should never give a juvenile the right to commit a crime, anybody. And we believe it is necessary because the future role of a violent criminal, the ages are getting younger and younger. So that just to protect innocent victims, I think it's necessary. We're really talking about, say, maybe 300 or 400 cases at the most in Cook County.
One real quick question, because we have to leave, and it's going too fast. People always ask you if you're going to run for mayor, so you get that question all the time. But how do you live with the pressure, Maggie? People constantly say, is he going to run? Is he going to run? He should run, all this stuff. What do you do?
Well, I just, I don't worry about that now. Really, Rich was elected state's attorney. He wants to be the best one that there ever has been in Cook County, and I think he's doing it. And that's what we do. We live for the moment. We really don't live for next year.
And thank you both very much.
Thank you.
You echo that too. You've answered that question so many times you don't have. Thank you for having your premiere performance of television on our premiere show, and thank you really very much.
Thank you.